Hello, I am back from hiking the Cotswold Way. I actually came back a day too early because my ITBN was just in so much pain, which was a huge bummer. But I figured to have the extra holiday day to just lie around and read, I thought I would also make a video going through all the books that I both read last month in August and showing some of the books that I purchased in August. And my mind is blown that it looks like the books read in August stack is actually bigger than the books purchased, which I think breaks a rule of loving books. Like I just haven't been buying enough books, and I thought I was buying too many. So this is good to see. I can go hit up the shops this weekend and get some more. Although I think part of the reason why that red stack is so big is because I did finally finish The Men Without Qualities, which is chunky. So take that into account. Also, so I made a video saying how I finally finished that book, and then I had also made a video talking about how just amazed how much I really love these two books too, which kind of started off my August reading month. So these two were Lost Property by Laura Beatty and The Grassling by Elizabeth Jane Burnett. This one, of course, is kind of like fiction travel writing, woman and her partner crossing Europe. I thought it was really thoughtful and somewhat educational, and that inspired me to kind of learn more about different parts of European history. And then this one just being kind of nature writing and again a little bit memoir. I guess I have a thing for like part memoir fiction. Actually, this one's not fiction, but part memoir, part something else. Seems to be the recipe that I enjoy. Next, I read Amy Arnold's Slip of a Fish. This was part of a bucket. I want to say bucket. It wasn't a chicken bucket of books. It was a bundle. Part of a bundle of books that I bought from And Other Stories, the publisher. So I've been working through that big stack of books in that bundle, and I'll make another video reviewing that bundle separately. But this was one of those. I'm trying to decide if it's experimental. I guess it's somewhat. It was definitely kind of difficult. There's kind of the drama, central piece of drama in this book is this unspoken of event, but you kind of infer what it was, which and what you think it is a really uncomfortable subject, and kind of reminded me a bit of The Discomfort of Evening. So yeah, I would say content warning for this, but it's never quite said, so I don't know if that's necessary, but actually I ended up, though, overall I'd say I enjoyed it. The quality of the writing is why I enjoyed it. It's just really fantastically written, and I think Amy Arnold is clearly talented, so. Then next in that pile there was The Remainder. This one, no, it was shortlisted on the Man Booker International Prize last year, but I hadn't really heard much about it. It's set in, oh God, is it set in Argentina? It's set in Chile, and then it involves a kind of road trip to Argentina. So this one was kind of the converse of Slip of a Fish. I started it thinking I would really like it, and then I just kind of never really clicked. But again, the writing was fantastic, and it was definitely cool to read about a part of the world that I don't really usually read a lot about. So glad I read it. Glad it wasn't as long as The Man Without Qualities. Let's see, what did I read next? Also in that collection from And Other Stories was this collection of short stories by Christine Schutt, Pure Hollywood. And I really liked these. They were most of them were really, really short. There's a review on it on the back from Atessa Mosfeg, and I think there's definitely a comparison to her short stories in that they're kind of just kind of like weird characters doing weird things, and I really enjoyed that. So that was a good little read. I've been mentioning The Men Without Qualities. Yep, read that. I don't have anything else else to say about it, except I think in that complete video that I made celebrating the fact that I finally got through this, I never really explained what it's about. So it's by Robert Musil. It's translated. This one was translated. It does say somewhere in here he was translated by Sophie Wilkins, but it's kind of buried on the title page where it actually says that, which is annoying. I think it should be on the cover with the author. So it's set in Austria in, I think I said 1913, but it's kind of over the course of a winter, so maybe 1914 as well, for being technically correct, sorry. And it follows this man, Ulrich, on his kind of misadventures in discovering the purpose of his life. And he is invited to serve on this committee trying to figure out how to celebrate the emperor's upcoming, 70th year, some kind of jubilee to celebrate the emperor, which of course we all know that ain't happening, but because it was going to happen in like 1917 or something. And so that's kind of like a farcical beginning to the plot of this book. I use quotation marks because plot is, if there were really a plot, these 1,000 pages would feel a lot differently. It's like a plot of a 200-page novel crammed into 1,000 pages. So anyways, that was in August. Then I wanted to pick something from my bookshelves that I thought would be a treat. I really loved Donna Tartt's The Goldfinch, so I was going to treat myself with The Secret History. And so my undergrad degree is in linguistics. I love learning languages. I spent many an evening studying and translating ancient languages, so this was super right up my alley. And I just didn't really love it. My favorite parts of it were where the students were debating like which case to use for translations. The actual story itself didn't really interest me nearly as much. I think there's more to be said about Donna Tartt's characters. Like, why are they always all men? I guess, actually, I think I know the answer to that. I think I saw in an interview with someone, she talks about how women are accused of being unable to write male characters or something, so maybe that's why she writes so many boys, which it's obviously false that women can't write male characters. She writes really great characters. I don't know, I always wanted to hear more about the like sole female character in this book, and just sometimes, like, I already went through university, I work with a bunch of dudes, I went through university with a bunch of dudes, like, I don't know, I think I just must be tired of hearing about the social lives of a bunch of dudes, and I'm clearly deprived of, like, female friendship, so I always want more of that in the books that I read. But anyways, this is not a bad book. I am glad I read it. Like I said, I really enjoyed the really nerdy parts. It actually made me pick up a book that I'm finally reading now in September that I got for my birthday last September. This is Elizabeth Wilson's translation of the Odyssey. So reading about Homeric Greek translations in The Secret History, and that being kind of like my favorite part of The Secret History, definitely nudged me to give this a go now. And I'm so glad that it did. First of all, this book physically is just excellent. They did a really nice job just producing this. And then Emily Wilson's translation is fantastic. I'm so impressed. But anyways, this is what I'm reading right now here in September, so this is not wrong list. Okay, so I read The Secret History. And then finally, I'm not sure that I actually read this book in August. I might have read this completely in September, but I'm going to stick it in. I finished this while I was backpacking the Cotswold Way. I just found this in a charity shop here in Bath. I picked it up because it's by Pushkin Press, which every time I see their works in the local bookshop, I always am intrigued. I love translated fiction. And this is translated from the Hungarian. He translated it. Again, it's on the title page, not the title. Translated from the Hungarian by Len Rix. So this book was published in 1937 by a Hungarian, and it's set in the 1930s in Europe, and it tells a story of a group of friends. Actually, it's really, I think, thematically similar to The Secret History. It tells the story of a group of friends from mostly kind of the perspective of one of them who's kind of like the main character in A Secret History. He's not as rich as two of the kind of characters who are the core of the friend group are. And he's just really intrigued by the kind of mystery and just weird education of these intriguing people. And they're all kind of like really out of touch with modern day news and current events, and just much more interested in the classics and kind of reenacting stories. So it starts with him and his new wife on their honeymoon in Italy, and Italy is just too much of a temptation for him, and he just kind of ditches his new wife and goes in pursuit of kind of that feeling that he had as a youth with this group of friends, and kind of re-encounters them one by one in this book. So I guess it's a classic of Hungarian literature, like kids study it in high school there. I don't know where I learned that, so maybe I don't know if that's really true. Tell me if it's wrong. And yeah, it was cool. I was mostly just reading it, thinking, how am I reading another book that's so close to The Secret History immediately after? Maybe I just had that like that lens since I had just read it. So those are all the books that I read last month. And then I picked up a few as well. So where will I get started with these? So last month was the month where I realized that the charity bookshops had reopened in town. Maybe they reopened months ago, I don't know, but I think they were just reopened Monday through Friday, so I never saw that they were open anytime I was actually in town on the weekends. So I finally noticed they were open on it was like a Wednesday afternoon, because I had taken 2 days off work and I was going bike packing. So I was riding my bike through city center to get out into the countryside, and I saw that they had reopened, so I had to stop and go in, and of course I found some books, but I limited myself to really slight little books so I could just stuff them in my saddle sack and take them with me on my bike packing trip, and they wouldn't be too much extra weight. I mean, that's my priority, right? Like, I don't want to lug around too much weight, but I'm gonna buy a book if I see it and it looks good. So I found that they had Crudo by Olivia Ling, which I really like experimental female-centric fiction. Oh, actually, I totally forgot to mention, in last month, I didn't even mention all the Kindle books. I read 3 books by Deborah Levy, and I don't know, probably some other. Oh, and I read How to Stay Sane in an Age of Division, which is a tiny little thing, which I don't have to show you because it wasn't on my Kindle, but it's already packaged up to send to my friend in the States. So, okay, so I really like Deborah Levy as an example, because I did read 3 of her books last month, but on my Kindles I don't have them to show. So I thought this might be kind of similar, so, and since it was in the charity shop and it was so small and would fit in my saddle pack, I picked that up. And then, like I said, I really like translated fiction, especially Eastern European fiction, especially Polish and Czech literature, which I'll explain some other time why. So this is actually a Slovakian author, but that's really closely related to Czech Republic. So the author's name is Ursula Kowalik. Yeah, and she's Slovakian, and so again, because it's something I'm interested in, and it would fit with all my gear, and was at the charity shop, so it was really cheap. I had to give it a try, and this is a collection of short stories. Let's see, also from the charity shop, so I took along a book while backpacking the Cotswolds, and I wanted my husband to have a book too, so that if I finished mine, we could swap. And he really likes Eric Ambler, so, oh, this bookmark's falling out. So I bought him this really old edition, thinking it was already pretty beaten up, and if we destroyed it while backpacking, it would be fine, no spilt milk kind of situation, or we wouldn't cry over the spilt milk. Anyways, so I picked that up, and this book was actually also published in 1937. So by a weird coincidence, both of the books that we were walking with last week were both published in 1937 and set in Europe. I also found Strangers on a Train by, I can't say her name, Patricia Highsmith, at the charity shop. But this book is in really nice condition. And I haven't read it, so I don't know what to say about it. So I think that's everything from the charity shop. And then kind of a local payment plan was running a deal this past few weeks, well, various deals, but basically they kind of gave me a deal to go into the local bookshop and get some more books. So I got 4 more books from the local new bookstore. Again, another Eric Ambler, because my husband likes these, and so I want to, basically I don't want to watch movies at night, I want to read together, so I've been trying to feed these to him. I picked up Where the Wild Ladies Are by Matsuda Ayoko, translated by Polly Barton. Please let me know how to actually pronounce the author's name. And are these short stories? I'm not sure if these are short stories. No, they are, because they're based on kind of traditional Japanese ghost tales, ghost stories. And I'm really excited about this publishing house. It's called Tilted Axis, and they do a lot of translated works by translations from parts of like underrepresented literary scenes, I guess. So a lot of like Asian, Southeast Asian, Pacific Islands, just kind of like basically not like mainstream French novel translations. So yeah, they seemed really cool, and this was the first book that I got by them, and I'm eager to read more from them. Okay, there's only 2 more left, so I'll go with this one. I got Everything I Found on the Beach by Kynan Jones. He's Welsh, so I just have to accept that I'm always going to say a Welsh word incorrectly off the bat, so but I would love to know how to actually pronounce it. My aunt is Welsh, so you think maybe I'd have picked up a few more words by now, but I'm working on it. And this is, I'm not sure what to make of this. It seems kind of like it has maybe thriller-esque pacing. It's pretty short. On the cover, it seems like they found a body, so that's why I think it's sort of thriller-y, but I've heard really good things about the author, so I think the writing should be pretty quality as well, and yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out. I will always go for a book set in Wales. And then finally, some nonfiction. I picked up Coventry by Rachel Cusk, because like I said, I really like kind of, not that she's experimental, but I just really like, I guess, more, what's the right term to describe writers who are like 20 to 30 years older than me? It's not that they're elderly, more senior, more mature, female writers who have seen a little bit more in life than I have, who I kind of look to almost like for guidance. So like Rachel Cusk and Deborah Levy would be 2 big examples of that kind of writer to me. I just really admire their stuff. So I picked this up because I really like Rachel Cusk's work. Although in fact, I think all the little short essays in here could be found in other publications, so you could probably just giggle your way through them for free online, but it seemed worth it to me to have them as a collection, so picked that up last month as well. And that's finally it. Those are all the books. There's a massive big stack of books on this desk here. I didn't realize it would be quite that big, so we'll see what September holds. I can't imagine the results from September would be quite so big, but like I've now realized, I think I do have free reign to purchase some more new books. Um, so who knows? I could accumulate some more real easy. That would be no problem at all. Anyways, if anyone has read any of these, I'm always keen to hear different perspectives on these books. I think that's kind of my weakness as readers. I love reading books, but then I don't really have like a community who've also read these books, like with whom to discuss them. So I guess that's why I'm making this video. I would love to hear some more thoughts if you've read these, or if you're thinking about getting around to any of these as well.